This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast. Hey everybody, this episode of I'll Have Another is sponsored by Gooder. If you are looking for a place to get fashionable, functional, and durable sunglasses, look no further than Gooder. My all-time favorite pair of Gooder shades is the Amelia Earhart Ghosted Me. They're aviators, they're super cute. They don't slip around when you run or you're active. And they also have really fun colors as well. I love the PBR red shades for races and fun events. I love wearing those. So many fun colors and styles to choose from. And you can save when you go to gooder.com/another and use the code another15 for 15% off your order. That's another15 for 15% off your order. All right. Today you're listening to episode 329 and my guest is Rebecca Mehra. I had the great opportunity to sit down in person with Rebecca. She was in town, my new town. I live in Raleigh now. I know that's weird. We've lived in Indianapolis forever. We just moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. And Rebecca was in town for the Sir Walter Mile. I knew there would be a lot of athletes in town, and I quickly decided to ask Rebecca to see if she would come on the show. She had a great race at the Sir Walter Mile, by the way. She ran a PR in the mile. She ran a 4:27.95, which was a 3-second PR. She was a 4:30 mile PR before that. Rebecca runs for Oiselle and is coached by Lauren Fleshman with the Project Little Wing. And she is just super fun, doesn't take herself too seriously, but when she gets to the line, she's super serious about racing. And we talk about that a little bit in the episode, why keeping it fun is so important. Rebecca recently ran in the Olympic trials in both the 800 and the 1500. She ran 5 races in 8 days, 2 11th place finishes. I love what she said here on Instagram. No matter the place, more than anything, I want to be known and respected as an athlete who will always give it a shot and squeeze everything I can out of myself on the day. Was I bummed I didn't place higher? Sure. But do I know I did everything I could in each race to achieve my best day? Absolutely. My race mantra going into the trials was give it a go. I feel like I achieved just that. And for now, I will be both satisfied with myself and hungry for more. So great. Rebecca has a 1500 meter PR of 4:06.28 and an 800 meter PR of 2:01.09. And that mile PR of 4:27 is the track PR. On the road, she's got a 4:22 PR where she actually ran that in 2019 at the 5th Avenue Mile in New York City when she placed 3rd. One of the best races she's had. So lots of big accomplishments out of Rebecca so far, and looking forward to see what the future in the sport has for her. Make sure you go follow her on social media. She is fun and motivating and lighthearted at the same time. Rebecca_Mehra is how you spell her last name. That's her Instagram account. And you can also find her on Twitter with the same name, Rebecca_Mehra over there. All right, friends, if you're enjoying this podcast, please leave us a quick rating and review so potential new listeners can find the show. This show is part of the Sandy Boy Productions podcast network, which is a little network I started. And you can learn more about our shows at sandyboyproductions.com. And we also are on Instagram over there, Sandy Boy Productions. You can find me personally on Instagram as well. I am Lindsay Hines 626. All right, friends, enjoy my conversation with Rebecca. All right, well, today on I'll Have Another podcast, we have Rebecca Mehra on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome to record in person.
My new hometown.
I know. And I haven't been here in 2 years, so just good timing.
Yeah, so we're here for the Sir Walter Mile. And I have to tell you, like, when I moved to Raleigh, I didn't even know about the Sir Walter Mile, like, when I was moving here. And then all these people were messaging me, like, you have to go to the Sir Walter Mile. So then I started looking at the athlete list, and I was like, who am I going to interview? I have to interview someone in person.
Yep.
And so I picked you.
Love it. Thank you. I'm honored.
Yeah.
But yeah, this race is awesome. I did it 2 years ago. I feel like the community vibe around the race is the best around. You will not find a race where like the community is more excited about what's going on. So I'm sure you'll experience the magic tomorrow.
I know. I'm trying to decide if we're going to bring our kids, because I found out today that the start time's like 9 p.m.
It's really late.
Yeah. Does that feel late to you though?
So I'm coming from the West Coast,
Yeah.
so it's not so bad, but it is on the later side. But then again, you have to wait until it cools off a little bit and the sun's gone, which makes a huge difference when it's, going to be 90 plus degrees outside. So 2 years ago, actually, there was a huge thunderstorm and they had to delay the race. And so we didn't end up racing until I think close to 11 p.m.
Oh my gosh.
So that was late. That was
I saw
late.
that picture and you're like hugging someone in the rain.
Yeah, that's Andy. Yeah, my host.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, small world.
Okay, wait. So tell us about the race in 2019.
So I came here straight from, US Championships was in the end of July in 2019, since Worlds was like in October in Doha. And so I came here straight from Des Moines, Iowa, and I stayed with Andy for the whole week and got to hang out with lots of awesome people and Jeff and, the whole Sir Walter crew. And yeah, I think that it was... they didn't know what the weather was going to be like, crossing their fingers it would be good. And it was a huge, massive storm that came in on the day of the race. But it was such an amazing experience. I mean, the dinner and getting to know, like I said, the Raleigh community was so much fun. And I did a kids practice of some sort on the track a few days before, and then the run with the pros the next day. And like I said, I mean, I sound like a broken record, but it is seriously the most community oriented event I've been to in the sport. And that says a lot because I've been to a lot of events. So it was great. And I'm very happy to be back.
I noticed that because I was talking about how you guys are, your hosts are driving you from place to place. And Glenn's like, they didn't rent cars. And I'm like, no, I think that's like the community part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the whole thing. Like, you want to be part of the Raleigh running community. And it's like is it Southern hospitality? I don't know. Yeah,
I think so. That's a little bit a part of it. But yeah, also just people who love running, love this race, care about Sandy and Pat who put it on. And I think it's become a real gem of kind of Raleigh running. And I'm not sure how long the race has been put on, but every year that I'm a pro, I'm coming back if I can. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So you're trying to break 4:30 tomorrow.
Yes.
Your road PR is 4:22. Your 4:30 on the track.
Yes, correct. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I ran that 4:22 at the Fifth Avenue Mile a couple years ago, and it was one of the greatest races I've ever had. So I would like to match that. That would be exciting. But yeah, generally, 1,500 runners don't run the mile very often, and when they do, it's indoors, and so you really never get a shot to run the mile when you're at peak fitness, or at least on the track. So this is one of only a couple opportunities that exist, and I think it'll be fast tomorrow.
Oh, that'll be so fun.
Yeah.
I know. Why is that? I mean, I get it. 1,500 meters is the distance.
Yeah.
It's the Olympic distance. It's
exactly.
the World Championships distance. But it for people who aren't big runners or don't know a lot about the sport, they hear 1,500 meters and they're like, what? Why aren't they running a mile? You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, it's the distance that I've had the most familiarity with, throughout my life. I understood what a mile time meant when I was in elementary school or middle school. And it wasn't until I got to college, I had to get used to a 1,500. I was like, what even is this? What does this pace mean? Why is it 100 meters shorter? But then again, you go over to any other country in the world other than Great Britain. No one runs a mile. No one even knows what it means. People measure their pace, not in miles per hour, but in kilometers per hour. So this is a special thing.
It's an American thing, I guess. The miles.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So I was listening to Ludacris on my way over here.
Yes.
I'm in my minivan. It's anytime I get away from my kids and I'm here, and I was just thinking, what are you listening to? What are you vibing on going into this race?
Ooh, gosh, I've been listening to a lot of stuff since the trials, but for whatever reason, Miley Cyrus and a couple of her covers have been my favorite thing to listen to. Heart of Glass has been stuck in my head constantly.
Is that one of her songs?
It's not her song, but it's a cover she did, and I just love her version of it. But in general, my favorite two pre-race songs that I've been listening to for the last 6 or 7 years, it just got stuck, and I always listen, are Rather Be by Clean Bandit and a song from Step Up, which is 20 years old maybe, called Show Me the Money. So just always have to, just those 2 songs.
Okay. Rather Be by Clean Bandit. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. Well, I could put it on.
Okay. So I have to also know, while we're talking about music, are you as big of a Taylor Swift fan as your boyfriend Jordan?
Oh gosh. So we both are fans.
Okay.
Especially when like new albums have come out, like when you walk into our house, that's like what's playing on one of our HomePods. It's awesome. Actually, I think that our HomePod recognizes that we listen to it so much, because if one of our cats like jumps on the HomePod on accident, that's what turns on Taylor Swift. So yeah, so we are definitely Tay fans.
I don't know if you know this. Do you know that I was on a podcast with Jordan talking about Taylor Swift?
Oh yes, of course. I knew that. I listened to the whole podcast.
On Mimi and Bridget's podcast, Daughters of the Bay.
Yep. They rock. Love
seriously, them. Like, I don't know. Like, I am not joking. But when she dropped the second album, Evermore, I cried. And I don't know if I was just like being super emotional, but like that's how attached to it I am.
Yeah, she's awesome. I feel like I was right at the perfect age when she got popular. Like I just started in high school, and it just like, I think of Taylor Swift songs as like parts of my life, if that makes sense. Like the Fearless album, like I was in high school, and Red, like I was in a part of college in which it really resonated with me. So yeah, she's stuck around for a long time.
Oh, she's so wonderful. Did you see her tweet? Oh no, like that song she did for Simone Biles.
Oh wow, no, but I need to see it.
Everybody get on Twitter and like go to Simone Biles' Twitter, and you'll see that it's like she's singing a song about everything that Simone recently did with the, like, you know, stepping down from her event and everything. Yeah. And then they're like having like a back and forth on Twitter, like how much they love each other.
Oh,
it's the best.
That is so cool. Okay, yes, I absolutely need to see that. I appreciate that a lot.
It's so good. Okay, so Sir Walter.
Yes.
You did the trials this summer.
I did. A lot of racing at the trials.
So much racing. 5 races.
Yes. It was a little crazy, but it was fun. I'm glad I did it, looking back on it.
And then you went and you paced and raced overseas.
Yep.
And like, so tell us, like, we'll talk about the trials a little bit, but tell us first, like, how have you dealt with the last few weeks, like overcoming that like emotional and physical tiredness?
Yeah, it's been a process. So I think I was so excited coming off of trials that I didn't listen to my past self saying, Rebecca, you're going to like need to take a break for a couple weeks after trials. And so instead I hopped on a plane and went to Europe and paced some friends, run PRs in the 1500, and jumped in. I actually ran a mile, and hilarious. I ran like 4:30 point something.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know what your time was. Okay.
Yeah, on the track. And so yeah, it was a lot of fun, like amazing experience to go to Sweden and race. And then being in Gateshead was less fun because we were quarantining in our hotel the entire time.
And you were by yourself.
Well, there were several other Americans. Actually, Isaiah Harris is here, who I got to know quite well in that week and a half, and several other Americans, which was great. But yeah, for the most part, it was like you saw them at meals and then you went and sat back in your room. So not a whole lot of fun. Kate Grace is also there, who's awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was fun, but that kind of was tough for those few days. But yeah, I came back and felt like, oh my goodness, I need to take a break. And I immediately jumped in an 800, which was a mistake in retrospect.
Back here.
Yes. So I flew back. I ran that mile race on a Tuesday night, flew back to the U.S. on a Wednesday, and raced again on Sunday in one of the Sunset Tour meets. Okay. And just, it hit me like how tired I was, like both physically and like mentally and emotionally. And so I decided to cut a second Sunset Tour race in LA I was supposed to do and like take a few down days and kind of work my way back up. And this will be my first race post what I'll call in big air quotes break. Two days. Yeah. And then a few days of training, and I'm excited. I feel a lot better. Like I definitely just needed that decompressing time. And I think most people do after the trials. And I just didn't realize how much it all caught up with me.
Lauren Fleshman's your coach. What was she saying through all this? Like, could she tell you were sort of burning out?
So we'd had a conversation like forever ago. So when I ran this race in 2019 after USA's, I had so much fun. I loved that I got to be at the race, but I was way too tired for the race. And so I knew that I had the intuition that I probably would need a break after trials, but then I got excited by the opportunities and then just did them anyways. So I learned a lesson. It was good to learn. You have to make mistakes in order to know how to do better the next time. So yeah, now I know like opportunities are great. Sometimes they're worth it, but like listen to your body, listen to your mind when it says like, please stop, please take a break. And so yeah, she was glad that I kind of got to that point that I can make the decision myself.
Okay. So when you're in your hotel room, like quarantining, being alone a lot, what do you think about when you're in those moments?
I don't even know. I think I was watching a lot of Jane the Virgin.
Okay.
It was like a show that had been recommended to me, and so I just watched hours and hours on Netflix.
Are you in? Are you all in on it?
Oh yeah. I watched way too much television in the last few weeks. I mean, I think we all have in the last year and a half, but like it's been special the amount I've watched. But yeah, I mean, you kind of like have a lot of time to like stew on your own, and Sweden was a lot of fun because they didn't have as many kind of quarantine rules, and you can kind of go out and get to know the place, and Stockholm's beautiful, and like I said, there were several other American athletes to spend time with. But yeah, Gateshead UK was tough because you're just by yourself a lot, and I think that was the moment in which I realized like, ooh, I need a break. When I finally had that time to myself to slow down. So glad I finally got there.
I mean, but watching lots of Netflix sounds kind of relaxing.
I mean, it's really
kind
not
of
a bad
wonderful
thing. It is a little weird when you're like, I haven't seen the sun today, and it's 6 o'clock.
You couldn't go outside at all.
No, we weren't allowed to. I couldn't even leave the hotel for a shakeout. You had to wait for the bus to take you to the track, and you were only allowed to be in a certain area of the track stadium, and under penalty of like getting kicked out of the meet immediately if they found you even like 100 yards from the hotel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk about the trials.
Yeah.
You're like so spunky and fun.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Like I think every athlete, enters a race differently and everybody has different personalities, but you always just seem like you're having the most fun out there.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I am having a lot of fun. It's cool that I get to do this. Like, had you asked, Rebecca 5 years ago if she was going to be a professional athlete, she would have laughed at you because I just wasn't fast enough. I wasn't good enough. I got hurt all the time in college. And so the fact that I have these opportunities now are like, it's amazing. I was not fast enough to qualify for trials in 2016. And in 2021, I qualified in 2 events and got to make the final in one of them, and it was really darn close in the other. So it was awesome. I had a lot of fun, but that also doesn't show, like, it was also a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of like hard emotional moments. I had to take a couple days to decide I wanted to run the 800 after the 1500 because there was some heartbreak there, but I got there. So I'm glad I did it.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, a quick break here to thank Beam for supporting this episode of the podcast. Beam has a new hydration line that I am so excited about. They have a balance, an energy, and a recovery blend. My favorite is the recovery. It is a hydration plus collagen mix, and especially on these super hot summer days, even a 30-minute run, I know I need to replace some electrolytes. I'm sweating so much. Their Elevate Recovery Blend has a hydrating electrolyte powder formulated with non-GMO collagen peptides, plus BCAA for supportive joint and muscle health, and it tastes like rejuvenating fresh lemon, no added sugar. This product does not contain CBD. I've been taking it after every single workout every day. And then also what I really want to tell you about is their Dream Blend. It is a nightly blend with a delicious taste. It has like a healthy take on hot chocolate, and it has sleep enhancing vitamins, minerals, nano CBD, and more. This is my nightly ritual now. I do take it every single night, and it calms me down. I look forward to it, and I will try just about anything for better sleep, and it is surely helping me sleep better. So you all can check out their hydration line plus their sleep line when you go to beamtlc.com. Use the code ANOTHER at checkout, and that will get you 15% off your order. That's beamtlc.com. Use the code ANOTHER for 15% off. All right, back to the show. What was the shift? Like 5 years ago, you would have laughed saying like, this is actually happening. Mm-hmm. I know obviously like you are sponsored by Oiselle now. Mm-hmm. You work with Lauren and the Little Wing Project. So like what transpired? Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so. It works.
I make up words sometimes.
Oh, I mean, at least I understand what you mean.
What transpired? Like what shifted or changed?
Yeah, good question. So like I said, I was hurt a lot in college, and I had this great last season in the end of my 5th year of college. And I went from my 1500 PR was 417, and I brought it down to 411, qualified for my first US championships. And I got the bug. I was like, oh, I need to keep doing this. And I'd already lined up a full-time job. And so I was working this job full time. Meanwhile, trying to train at the same time, which didn't work very well. I got hurt, but did that. And then was looking at professional teams, and, I ended up having a lot of great conversations with Sarah Lesko, who's kind of the head of I don't know, she wears a lot of hats.
She's the doctor, I know that.
Yeah.
But she also seems to talk to everybody.
Head of corporate development. She's the head of like kind of the elite athlete program. Ended up having a conversation with her and was really excited about Oiselle. And I felt like I was, you know, my values aligned really well with that of the company. And so yeah, I ended up signing a contract and then like haven't looked back from there. But I didn't move to Bend until summer of 2018. And so that was really exciting to like get to meet Lauren and work with Lauren and work with the other women on the team who are awesome. And it's really propelled me to where I am today, and very grateful, but would never have guessed that that'd be my path.
So did you and Jordan, your boyfriend, did you guys make the decision to move to Bend together?
No.
Okay, tell me about that.
So that was definitely a point of contention when I first moved to Oregon. I kind of was like, Jordan, I want to be a like full-time professional athlete. I'm moving to Oregon. And it was kind of, it was hard at the time. And we had like a full year of like, this is really tough. And he actually didn't move to Bend until April of 2020. So like a little bit over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But yeah, we were doing long distance for over 2 years.
Was he still, because you guys met at Stanford?
Yeah. So he was still in Palo Alto. So he was working for a company that was based in Palo Alto. And then he was kind of doing his own app design stuff. And then he got to a place where he was like, let's live together. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. Let's do that.
You come to me.
Yeah, I know. But at the time he had just gotten kind of a good remote job. We signed our lease in February 2020 and moved in April. And as you can imagine, the world changed a lot between February and April, at least our worlds. For sure. But it was really amazing timing that we moved in together.
Oh,
and
can you imagine?
We have not wanted to kill each other despite living together and being the only people we were seeing for like, I don't know, months. So it's good.
That's a good test.
Definitely.
It's a good trial
Good relationship test. Yeah, but no, we're good. We're happy, and I'm happy I get to live with him. And we adopted kittens in October who are now like 1-year-old cats, which is crazy, but it's been fun. It's been good to have them there.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I can't imagine going through, especially the beginning of 2020, like living by yourself and not having, that's what my heart was like the whole beginning of that pandemic. I was like, you know what, being at home with my kids is crazy. And like, we're all driving each other crazy, but like my heart went out to people that live by themselves.
Yeah, I know. And Jordan was living in a house with a bunch of roommates, and all the roommates left like right before everything shut down in the middle of March. And so he did have a full couple of weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks just alone before he came up to Bend. And then like, when we finally moved in together, like I was the first person that he'd like seen in person outside of like someone who was 10 feet away and outside. So it was, nice to get to be together. And I can't imagine what it would have been like to be in a distance relationship in the middle of COVID, because you can't like travel, like the restrictions are weird. Like, I don't know if we would have felt safe, our roommates, how they would have felt. So I just, like I said, really incredibly lucky timing that we moved in then.
Okay, so tell me about his thing with like boyfriends of Oiselle and everything. I just want to know all the things. He's so fun.
He is so fun. He brings out the fun in me, and he like definitely brings a lot of positivity and happiness to my life that I'm extremely grateful for. But so back in, November of, must have been 2018. I got this like really awesome, like big puffy jacket, the Oiselle Queen jacket. And he's like, I want one of those. I'm like, well, like I live in Bend, I need the warm jacket. And he tried it on, and we took a goofy photo, and he just decided to create this Instagram account, Boyfriends of Oiselle, and he posted it. And then like, he didn't think anything would come of it. It was just a silly Finsta. And then just, it caught on, like it caught traction, and Oiselle reposted it. And then suddenly he had this community of thousands of people that were interested in what he had to say. And he was reposting kind of stories of other couples that were like somehow loosely or even not loosely affiliated with Oiselle. And like started to tell kind of the story of being a boyfriend of a runner, and would go live for all of my races. And it's come a long way. He has a lot of fun with it. And I think he's learned a lot about the running community, because he was a baseball player. So he knew very, very little about track and field. So it's been fun to see his evolution and like how involved he is. And he live streamed everything at the trials on my account and did such a good job. Very grateful, but he's great.
I love it when professional runners have people take over their accounts like that. Mm-hmm. I just interviewed Sally McRae, and her husband did the same thing during Badwater. It's like, then we can you're just doing your thing. Yep. You're competing. You don't have to think about anything, but like someone is giving us an inside view. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what do you think he knows now about track and field and like the community now that he didn't know 5 years ago?
Everything. It's hard to even say one thing. I don't even know that he knew how many laps of 1500 was, but like now he definitely does. He knows how many laps an 800 is too. But more than that, like he just gotten to know everyone in the track community. He's gotten to understand like the beauty of the sport and like how much track and field matters to me. His experience at the trials was his first time ever being at like a US championships. And he was like going to bed at 2:00 in the morning, was like exhausted because there was just so much energy and emotion that I think he didn't realize that there would be. He's like, it was like being at the World Series. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so he's come a long way, and like being a supporter and also like being someone who actually knows quite a bit about track and field for someone who knew nothing just a few years ago. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to the trials. And you said like you had some heartbreak with the 15, you got 11th place.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go ahead and do the 8?
So it was always kind of the plan to do both races. I mean, if I had the race of my life and made the 1500 team, then I probably wouldn't have run the 800.
But not too late celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have been bothered. But at the same time, like I was excited about both events. I was hurt a lot this past year. Like I had a really bad ankle sprain in October that took me out for a couple months and turned into an Achilles problem. And so I missed a lot of my training earlier in the spring, and I never really picked an event. You know, Lauren and I had sat down and thought we were going to pick an event, and I never did. So I thought, I think I'm probably equally good at both of these, which is hilarious. I got the exact same place in both events. But I really kind of put all my eggs in the 1500 basket, and like really thought I was in, you know, despite the injuries, like I still was in the best shape I'd ever been in. And I think that, you know, the training kind of caught up with me on the third day. Like I just didn't have enough in my legs to keep up at the pace that we were at. And, you know, I put everything in it and I didn't check out mentally. It just like, you know, it was frustrating. It wasn't what I wanted, and very, very happy for the folks who made the team. They're running fantastically at the Olympics. It's amazing. But yeah, you also like envision yourself there and it's, you know, a hard feeling, but I'm still really proud of my performance and proud that I put myself in it and raced how I did. But it took me like a couple of days. I think I didn't want to run it out at all after the first day. I actually had a beer after my last 1500 and was like, I just need to not think about the 8. And then the next day or the day before the race, I still wasn't sure I wanted to do it. And I went to the pool with Lauren and her family, and I went on water slides and like jumping off a platform with her son, Jude. And I had such a fun day. Not exactly what you typically do on the day before a race, but I just really needed to have fun and like bring it back to like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. And yes, I didn't achieve my wildest dreams, but at the same time, like it was awesome. And it's so fun that I get to be here. So I brought that into the 800 and I had fun in both those rounds. And yeah, like I almost fell and I missed making the final by 1/10 of a second, but like, I don't know how I would have been on the 6th race. I kind of was thinking my body is going to break down at any point, and I kept it together. But yeah, it was a great experience, and I wasn't sad at all once I finished.
I mean, I love that your coach is like, let's go to the water park and like, let's just have a day to like decompress and then decide what we want to do.
Yeah, that was the smartest
so
thing. Yeah, it really was awesome. And like, I love her kids and got to know them quite a bit. I used to babysit them pre-pandemic. And so yeah, that was special and a lot of fun. And like spending time with kids, like you just get reminded of how fun the little things can be. And it was, the perfect thing for me to have done. So
many falls.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, I guess it's always been like that, but every time we have these high stakes race in the 8 and the 15 particularly, I'm like, who's going to fall?
I know. It's so physical.
It is.
It just, you're running at such a fast pace and you're in such a tight pack that like one little wrong move or one clip and like you're running so quick that you just fall really hard. And in that 800 that I was in, I've seen quite a few falls now in the Olympics and also at the trials. I mean, there's the famous like, fall in the 800 final in 2016 with Alicia Montano and Brenna Martinez. It happens and it's scary, but you just try your best to stay kind of out of it, but it happens. And yeah, when Sage Hurta fell, like she hit the track really hard in my 800 semifinal and I was immediately concerned. Like it did not sound good. You like heard a crack when she hit the track, and I know she broke a wrist and was pretty shaken up, and that's the nature of the sport a little bit. That stuff happens, but it's still scary when it does.
The guy who won NCAA's, what's his name in the 800, and he was
Jewett.
Yes.
Yeah.
That fall, I was
know.
just like, oh, it was heartbreaking to see.
I know,
and
it
then
really was.
Get up together and like,
I know,
jog in.
I know. I really thought that they were gonna put him in the final.
Did you think so?
I thought so. Yeah, I'm really surprised that they didn't. I know that Corey McGee fell.
Yeah,
and was tripped in that 1500 round, and they did put her in the final, which is great. But yeah, I was really surprised. But sometimes you never know. Like, how they make those decisions. I really don't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing more 800s.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about that.
They're fun. I only started running the 800 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like I never ran it in college. Actually, not never. I ran it one time in all of college. And in 2019, when I first started racing with Little Wing, I really wanted to run an 800 indoors. And Lauren's like, okay, like, I don't know. We haven't done any speed. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, be okay with running 209. It's like, okay. And I ran 206, like by myself, wire to wire. And then I ran 204 the next week. And those were like huge personal bests. I'd never really run the 8. And I was just excited about it. It was fun. It was new. I feel like when you've been in the sport for so long, like having a sense of newness is hard to find. And that was really exciting for me. So, yeah, I've just like been rolling with it since. I mean, I'm probably more of a miler 1500 runner, like in terms of my strengths, but like I really enjoy running the 8 and I really think I can break 2 minutes eventually whenever I get the opportunity, but, the day will come, but
you're 201 right now.
Yeah. But I know I've got it in me.
Yeah.
The race needs to happen, needs to be set up the right way. We'll see.
And not that I like to talk about age, but you're 26. I mean, you got a lot of years to do that.
I hope so. Yeah. I had this thought for the first time that I didn't want to tell someone my age.
Oh,
when
really?
they asked me how old I was. I really wanted to say.
Did you feel young or old?
No. So for the first time in the track and field world, like I feel old. And I didn't want to tell someone how old I was. I almost like took off a year. I'm not kidding. But I mean, yeah, I do have a lot of good years left. It's funny though, when you're in other professional worlds, like when I was working full time at a venture capital firm,
I wanted
to tell people that I was at least 5 years older, so they take me seriously. But yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy between age in track and age in other kind of professional industries.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I just think like Molly Huddle, she's 37. There's a lot of people still on the track.
I love to see it. People that have like really full long careers. Also like women that are having babies and getting back in the sport, like a lot of respect. I'm not sure that I do that, but it's amazing that you're able to and that there's support for that now. So it makes a big difference.
The woman, I don't remember her name. I'm so bad at names. She's like the world record holder in the 15 though. She's like the favorite.
Faith Kipyegon. So I don't know if she's gotten the world record. She got really close. She had 3:51, but like I'm really excited. She's amazing.
I want to know her story. Yeah. I know she's a mom. I want to know more about her story.
Yeah. I think she had a baby. I think the baby must be 2 or 3 years old now.
Okay.
But yeah, like came back with a vengeance. And like that's amazing. And she's a huge favorite to if she can beat Safan Hassan to win that 1500. So I'll be cheering for her. Yeah.
When is the 15 final?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
At 8:40 a.m.
Okay.
So by the time this podcast comes out, Friday, August 6th at 8:40 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. Because we'll put this out next Friday. Oh man. And this is what happened with the steeple. I was driving my kids to camp. I don't want to miss the 15.
Yeah, I know. Well, you just got to stop. You just got to stop and take the 5 minutes in the car
and
to
just
watch it.
The Gold app. Yeah.
That's what it is. I've done that several times actually while I've been in the car and had to stop. But I think it's a majority of the track, because I live on the West Coast, is between 3 and 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Which is horrible.
So early.
So you either like have the worst sleep schedule of all time, which I kind of have had the last few days, but I have to get back into normalcy for a race tomorrow. But it's so fun. It's like hard to miss it.
Yeah, I mean, because like the steeple, I knew the outcome, but I was like, I still have to watch what Courtney Freyricks did. Like I have to see it, but it's just not as exciting not watching it live because you're not seeing it unfold.
Yeah, I know the time difference makes it really kind of crappy for those of us in the U.S.
Hey everybody, I want to thank Athletic Brewing for supporting this episode of the podcast. If you are looking for a delicious non-alcoholic beer, this is where you need to look. They actually just had Athletic Brewing at the Sir Walter Mile, which was really cool. They have IPAs, they have golden, they have hazy IPAs, and they also have seltzers, which are really delicious. You are not compromising on taste when you have these delicious non-alcoholic beers. I don't know about you, but I have been trying to cut back on my alcohol intake this year, and this has been an answer for me. You still get that refreshing drink that you're looking for. I love the Blood Orange seltzer. It's blood orange with hops. It's so refreshing and delicious. Make sure if you do check them out, you get at least 2 6-packs, because when you get 2 6-packs or more, you do get free shipping. And so I highly recommend doing that. Go to athleticbrewing.com. Use the code ANOTHERATHLETIC15. That's ANOTHERATHLETIC15 for 15% off your order. Get 2 6-packs or more, and that'll get you free shipping as well. All right. Thank you, Athletic Brewing, for supporting this episode of the podcast. Back to my conversation. Okay, so talk to us a little bit more about working with Lauren Fleshman.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've always just looked up to her and respected her so much for everything that she's done, both as an athlete and her writing, who she is as a person. I actually reached out to her when I graduated from college, and I'm not sure that even went through because it was right around the time she was having a baby, which I can understand is a tough time. But yeah, it was kind of felt like in a cheesy way, like a dream come true when I got introduced to her via Oiselle and then got to start working with her as a coach. And I've learned so much from her, like so much, in so many different kind of avenues of my life. But she was the biggest one training wise, was like she was a really injury prone athlete. And like I thank her in so many ways for kind of getting me through the last 3 years outside of a crazy ankle sprain, like without major injuries. And that's because she has taught me how to be smarter. That sounds silly, but it's something that she felt like she kind of figured out as an athlete. And that's something she really wanted to pass down to me. And she really cares a lot about making sure that her athletes kind of learn from her mistakes. And I've always felt that. And, she's also so good at like telling her story and like putting out into the world who she is. And I feel like I've tried to model off of that and learn from her in that way. But it's been a wild ride, but she's great.
So who do you train with out in Bend?
Yeah, so my primary training partner in the last 3 years has been Mel Lawrence, who's a steeplechaser. But also I do a bit of my training with Sadie Henderson, who's an 800 runner, and Angel Picarillo, who moved there last year, and she's 800 and 1500. Okay. But yeah, they're a great group.
Tell me, like, do you run by yourself a lot? Like, how often are you just doing workouts with them?
Yeah, we always meet for workouts. Okay. And I'd say we usually meet for long runs, but like everyone has kind of their own schedule and needs to kind of run at their own paces. And so a lot of easy running, especially since the pandemic, I feel like, because we were trying to minimize having like too much contact, has been like solo. I love running and listening to podcasts and listening to music. But yeah, I probably meet with them like 3, maybe 4 times a week. And then the other 3 days I'm kind of solo.
Do you think you're a higher mileage 1500 meter runner?
No,
or lower?
Definitely not. I wish that I could run more. Maybe I don't wish I could run more now. I feel like I've gotten to a place where I can embrace like who I am as an athlete and be cool with that and not feel bad that I can't run like 70 miles a week. But like I max out at 60. And when I say that, like, I don't think I ran a 60-mile week this year. And if I did, there were like 1 or 2 of them. I'm on average in like the 50s zone, but the 800 doesn't feel like it matters as much. There are sprinters who run no mileage who are fantastic. And then like a thing Mo and Raven Rogers, right? And then there are athletes who are like Kate and run 70 miles a week, Kate Grace. But yeah, in the 15, I'd say I'm definitely on the lower end. Love mileage.
It's so interesting because like I feel like the 8, the 15, like you either swing, you swing up or you swing down. You swing to the 8, you swing to the 5. Yep. And you swing to the 8.
I swing to the 8. I mean, someday maybe I'll swing to the 5, but I haven't like kind of done, I don't feel like enough of the training to do that, but I'm excited. I think I'm probably going to run a road 5K this fall.
Oh, fun.
And see how that goes.
When was the last time you ran a 5K?
On the track, 2014.
Wow.
On the road, I've run them more recently, but like I really want to break 16 minutes in the 5K. That's like a lifetime goal, like along with 2 minutes in the 800. Like I have to do it. So I'm excited about that. And what else? I'm going to run a 3K.
4 in the 15, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be amazing. But I'd like to run the world standard in the 1500, which is 4:04.2, I think. Same as the Olympic standard. But yeah, in the I'm also going to run probably another 3K, which I ran my first 3K in 5 years this indoor season, and it was so hard. It's like a mile, but just keeps going. Yes. I don't really know. 3,000 meters is a weird distance, but
is it like 1.7 or something? 1.6?
It's like really close to 2. It's probably like 1.88. And so I have a goal to get better at that and run faster. So we'll see. I'm excited about longer stuff, but I'm also cautiously optimistic about it.
Would you ever do the steeple?
Oh my gosh. So I actually joked that I would love to run a steeple. And then I watched things like someone rupture their Achilles, like running a steeple. I'm like, maybe I don't want to do the steeple. I mean, in theory, I'd like to try everything at some point, not a track 10K other than that. Oh gosh. Track 5K, maybe a steeple someday in my life. I don't know. But I also want to respect the event. It's really hard. It's not just something you can jump into. That's been made very clear by my teammates around the steeple and watching how difficult it is. So maybe someday, but we'll see.
I know I was watching in the steeple final, like I was watching them on that last lap, like really get over the barriers. And I was like, that fatigue. You could just see it.
Yeah. It's so easy to hurt yourself too, or hit one of those barriers.
Right, because you're like so fatigued when you're trying to go up.
My tiny experience with the steeplechase, I ran it like one time in high school.
Oh, you did?
The 2K steeplechase, actually in North Carolina, when I came here for nationals in like 2010 or something. And I ran the 2K steeple, and it was super fun, but I didn't know there was a water barrier, and I hurdled it and just like totally face planted in the water and got up. I was like, what on earth is this? And then had to like keep running. And learned the next time you need to jump on the water barrier hurdle so you get over the water instead of hurdle it. Yeah. So
does anybody hurdle it?
I don't think so. Okay. Because you just fall right in the water and it slows you down. I feel like you need to step on it. But they're definitely different, like from watching a lot of steeples, different ways that people hurdle. Like you have the Emma Coburn, like absolutely beautiful form. And then you see a lot of the Kenyans like kind of just throw their feet to the side and jump over it. And it's, very different. But it works, clearly.
Get over this the best way I possibly can.
Totally.
I was paying attention to the ways different people jumped over it in the final this time. Okay, so people always say to me, don't ask me what's next after like a big thing. You know, like someone runs a huge marathon PR and I'm like, what's next for you?
Yeah, I get it. But it's a valid question.
But yeah, I'm always like, what, like you said, you're going to do that road 5K, like, and then we've got the fall and then obviously spring track season. But like, what do you have your sights set on?
I'm just excited to have a full year of training where I hopefully do not sprain my ankle. Yeah. And I can actually train the whole fall. Like I'm excited to hopefully be healthy and like have another normal year of racing. Like I think all of us athletes have such a greater appreciation for races with fans. I'm excited to like travel a bit more again. And like hopefully in the fall see some friends I haven't seen in a long time because I haven't really been able to do that during track season. But yeah, like I want to train and give myself a shot to make that World Championships team next year in a 1500. And yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I need to first get that world championship standard and then kind of show up and be ready to compete again.
What do you do for mind work?
So I work with a psychologist who's amazing. I was introduced to her a little over a year ago. I realized we've been working together for a year. And she's great. And she's not specifically a sports psychologist, but just someone who I can like talk to every week. And that's great. And that's been super helpful. Another thing that Lauren actually put the bug in my mind for was like thinking about a mantra during races. And so I at first kind of like laughed, was like, I don't think that's for me. And then I realized like in the moments of anxiety before a race, when you really aren't sure like if you can do this or you aren't sure that you want to do the race, like you need to kind of bring yourself back and center yourself again. And mantras have really been helpful for me. My favorite one the last 2.5 years has been give it a go, because it just feels like you put in all this work. Why not like give it a shot, see how it goes? And that's stuck with me. So yeah, those two things in particular.
You've mentioned before that like you used to get really nervous and scared before races.
Yep.
And now it's less so that?
Yeah, I mean, there's still nerves, right? Especially before big races, like at the Olympic trials or like at a Diamond League.
You care.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like it's a different kind of nervousness. Like I used to get anxious and like I would not want to like get on the starting line. Like when I was in high school, like I would cry and like ask my coach to like, pull me out. Like I don't want to do it. But I feel like I've gotten to this place over so many years that like I choose to run. Like I choose to do this. I don't have to do this. And like I love it. And like I put in all this work all year, and like competing is the time in which you get to show it off, like show what you've been able to do. And so it took me a long time and a lot of injuries to get there and feel that way, but it's a privilege to be able to do this. And it took me until, I don't know, 24 to really figure that out.
But that still sounds so young to me. 24.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's true though, injuries do provide you that like look at what I didn't have, like what I might not have, so like you appreciate it that much more.
Yeah. I spent so much time. We were very lucky in college at Stanford. We had an ultra-gravity treadmill, and there were several of us who were often hurt. Actually, Elise Cranny being one of them. We used to swap, so we only had one pair of ultra-gravity shorts that were in our size, and so one of them would run in them and have to give them to the next person, sweaty and disgusting, at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and you'd run in them and you'd stare at a wall as you're running on the Ultra G, like trying to get back from your injury. And you just develop such a greater appreciation for being able to race and like train like a normal person, especially as you're like staring at a wall at 7 o'clock in the morning in sweaty shorts. You really get there. So, exactly. Someone else's sweat. That's, need to emphasize that one. It was gross, but but it took a long time, a lot of injuries to to really feel a greater appreciation for the sport and to love it more.
So, okay. How do you strike a balance of like your fun spirited attitude, but also being like, I'm here to do a job, and like obviously competing at your level, you're super serious. Mm-hmm. So how do you strike that balance?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that I don't know, like I have fun getting to do what I do, and yeah, it's serious, and yeah, like the times matter, but like if you aren't having fun doing this, you don't wake up every day and you don't want to do this, like you shouldn't.
Yeah,
it's not exactly something where you're like making, I mean, for most people, like making a ton of money or like, you know, I could go do something else if I wanted to do that. But like, it's a privilege for these like, you know, short amount of years for me to get to do this. And like, I want to enjoy it. And if I'm not, then I shouldn't do it. And so that, like I said, took me like quite a long time to get to, but like I continually choose to get to run. And that's been the best choice I think I've ever made.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to go longer, but we can't because we have to go to this athlete dinner.
Yes, I know.
have more questions for you, but we are going to wrap up with some end of the podcast questions here.
Yes.
What is something professionally or personally that you would like to do that you haven't done yet?
That I haven't done yet. Oof. I would really love to like move to Washington, D.C. and like be in the middle of like politics land. I don't know if I'd necessarily want to work on the Hill, but I would like to just kind of really be in the thick of it. Like whether it be like working in the White House or the State Department. I guess maybe it only half counts to say I haven't done this because I did in college spend an internship summer working at the State Department, and I loved it. So I think someday I'd like to do that. I think it'd be great. I'm really interested in public policy, always have been. Very different from running. I know you're in the sun.
I like my eye, I can see. We're good.
Yeah. But yeah. No. Sit next to me. It's fine. I'm very grateful to get to sit next to people again and talk to them face to face because I've been staring at a stupid screen with everyone else for a year and a half. So it's great.
Oh, this is so funny.
Yeah.
No, I've heard you talk about your interest in public policy, and I know you work for the mayor's office in Bend, and we didn't get into that today, but
that's okay.
I do love hearing about like the multifaceted parts of people's lives outside of running.
Yeah. I mean, and to address your question from earlier, like other pieces of my life feel in balance, and that's why I have fun. Like I love my boyfriend. He's amazing. Like I love my cats, love my family. Like I love getting to work on something that I care about that is not necessarily running oriented. It could be, but it's something outside of like me pursuing the Roomba.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys, we can't cut this. We gotta leave it in.
That's amazing.
Leave the Roomba in. Okay, we're almost
Well, this is what happens in person. Stuff happens, you know, you scoot your chair back and you hit the Roomba.
I turned the Roomba on.
But yeah, what was I just saying?
How amazing Jordan is, and
Jordan's awesome, but also like getting to work on something that I care about a lot, and like being able to turn my running brain off and like do that, and that makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. You have to convince Jordan, we're moving to Bend, but now we're moving to Washington, D.C.
Someday. We'll get there.
Okay, what's the most recent book you've read?
Ooh, I've read a lot of really good books lately. I think a couple. I really loved Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I love the ending. I won't ruin it. I won't talk about it.
So good.
I recently finished Barack Obama's book, Promised Land, on audiobook, which is great. I highly recommend listening to it on audiobook because you get to
it's his voice.
It's his voice, exactly. So he spent the time recording it, so I love that. Another book, I read this a while ago now, but I really liked was Educated by Tara Westover.
I need to read that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Really interesting story. And I'm usually like, I love historical fiction. Like another one I read, Mel, Lawrence, and I actually have very similar tastes in books. Read the Alice Network, which is like World War II based. So that's typically like the era I like reading in. But if it's a really good memoir or fiction book, I can get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coffee, tea, or cocktail with someone fun, motivating, or inspiring?
Like, is the cocktail coffee or like
you choose?
Okay.
Like some people are like, I don't drink alcohol, so they choose the coffee, but you choose your beverage.
For the most part, I'd say like latte. I love a really good fancy latte. There's a lot of really good coffee places in Bend. I really like cardamom lattes a lot, or a good vanilla latte if they make their vanilla syrup. I feel like I'm a coffee snob now. But
yeah, it's like homemade vanilla bean.
Yeah. Yes.
Latte.
Exactly. So good. And then, sorry, what was the second question?
Who are you having this with?
Ooh,
you sit down for an hour with someone.
There's so many people. I feel like I always want to give the stereotypical answers. But but I'd love to sit down. I don't know. Like I've always looked up to, and I know her now, like Alicia Montano is amazing, just what she's done for the sport and like who she is. But I think that one is tangible. And if I'm going to pick an untangible one, oh gosh, who would I want to talk with? I think I'd want to meet the president of New Zealand. She's amazing, and she's like done so much for the country. She's so young, and she is, I would love to meet her.
First time I've ever heard that answer.
I mean, I want to say Michelle Obama, right?
Everybody
but everyone
says
says Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
so like if I'm coming up with, a different like female leader in the world. Or everyone, probably the other one everyone would say is Beyonce.
Yeah.
I'd love to
I
meet
don't
her
have
too.
near as many Beyoncés as I do Michelle Obamas for that question.
Yep.
That's Michelle Obama is by far the most answered to that.
Yep. I bet.
Barack doesn't stand a chance. Everybody wants me. But I do interview more females than males.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
Okay. What's your last message to leave with our audience today?
Last message. I don't know. I guess, what did we talk about today? I think that just have fun in whatever you do. Like I am really, really lucky to get to do what I do. And I had a wise person once tell me, if you don't wake up 80% of the time and like love what you're doing, then to change it. So, maybe someday I'll wake up and feel that way about track and field, but for now I don't. And I'm, very lucky to get to do what I do.
I love that 80% because that's just more realistic.
Yeah, you're not going to be 100. Sometimes I hate running. I wake up, I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this today, or have a hard workout and you're by yourself in the rain. Like, those are not great days. But as long as 80% of them are good.
That's a good way to think about it. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the Sir Walter Mile for the amazing event this weekend. Don't forget to go follow Rebecca on Instagram and Twitter. She's funny. You will love her. And definitely follow her career. She's Rebecca_Mehra over there. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Lindsay Hines 626. You can follow Sandy Boy Productions over there on Instagram. If you would like to be added to our email list that goes out every single week, we send out an email with links to everything we talked about in the episodes, including books people recommend. Email emma@sandyboyproductions.com and she will get you signed up for our list. I know sometimes I listen to podcasts and think, oh, I want to remember that. I want to go back and look at that. And it's always so nice to just get that email directly sent to your inbox with the links to everything. All right, friends, thank you so much for being here. Have a great Friday. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as always, we will see you next Friday.